Welcome to Art Speaks, connecting the creative community with Fulton County residents. I'm Lionel Thomas, Director of Fulton County Arts and Culture. Today, we'll connect you to one of our national partners that celebrates the diversity of our society through creative expression and honors the continued legacy of Leonard Bernstein. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Art Speaks in a moment. Welcome back. I'm here with Nolan Williams Jr., musicologist, theologian, songwriter, producer, founder, and CEO of New Works Productions, one of the premier producers of inspirational arts programming and the visionary behind West Side, South Side, a photo exhibition exploring diversity inspired by Leonard Bernstein's West Side Story. Nolan, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Lionel.
We're here at the Woodruff Arts Center, and you have such an eclectic background. You've written for film and television, and for many of the leading orchestras in the country, and you have national and international acclaim. Tell us a little bit about your background and your rise to national and international acclaim.
Well, you're very kind. I'll pay you afterwards. I started off as a child performing in theater, and then I went to Oberlin and majored in music there. But a lot of my work has been driven by this curiosity about the impact that music and arts can have to bring people together, to convene conversations, to even address topics that are often difficult for us to just talk about. But through the arts, we can at least get people together and bridge divides. I still remember when I was a kid, you remember that song, We Are the World?
I remember it clearly.
I remember that song and the impact of all of those artists coming together and how that had such a global impact and a global effect. And in fact, when I was a student at St. John's Military School in DC, we were doing a informal kind of fundraising drive amongst the student body, and I took the words to We Are the World and adapted them. And I'd like to think that was probably one of my first, kind of experiments in seeing how music can really be used as a tool to bridge community and to foster engagement.
And I think we all knew where we were when that song was produced and filmed.
Yeah. Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson,
exactly.
and we all took turns singing those roles. Cyndi Lauper and all those lines. Yeah, it's amazing.
So, is there a particular style that defines you?
Thankfully, I'm not limited to any style. My background is in classical piano, as you know, but I've worked in so many different genres of music, and I'm grateful for that. I grew up in church, and so those are my earliest roots. My dad was a minister, both my grandfathers, two of my great-grandfathers, lots of other relatives, So it's very eclectic, church and classical and jazz and American songbook, which I grew up on Ellington and all of the great songs. I love Ella Fitzgerald and then Leonard Bernstein, right? Which is what brings us here.
So who's your favorite?
Wow, that's tough. I love Gershwin. And I love how the Gershwin brothers were able to take music that is genuinely American and authentically American, particularly the jazz idiom, and to meld that with classical forms and to create something new and unique. But they weren't alone. Duke Ellington was doing a similar kind of thing with his language. And so, I don't know, that's a tough question, but I certainly have been influenced by so many. And Bernstein, as we are here in this gallery space, is a significant part of that influence as well. I still remember the first time I saw West Side Story, right? Which was another early influence, seeing how a composer could take a classical Shakespearean work and completely turn it into something that felt new and relevant, right? These rival street gangs in New York, both American, and yet
Right.
one Caucasian, one Puerto Rican.
So you work with Newark Productions.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You are the founding CEO for Newark's Productions.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
So you founded a company.
15 years ago.
Right.
15 years ago, and it was an outgrowth of work that I was already doing. You know, I was already in the community and working with arts organizations and bridging divides even there. Even in my work as a minister of music at my church in Washington at the time, you know, we were in the community trying to see how we could bring programming into the church or connect with arts agencies to do what I didn't see other people doing, you know, so that we weren't just limited to Sunday morning and the traditional kind of worship setting. And so this company then became an outgrowth of that. You know, I was really blessed that a lot of opportunities were extended to me early on. And I reached a point in my life and career where I decided I didn't want to just be using my gifts for pure entertainment's sake. I wanted to use it to have an impact. And that's what really pushed me to get serious about New Works. And 8 years ago, I stepped away from all other full-time employment and wholeheartedly committed to this work. And it's been an amazing journey.
We're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll continue our discussion with Nolan Williams Jr. on the importance of diversity in the arts. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back. We're here with Nolan Williams Jr., CEO of New Works Productions. Nolan, why did you find the need to create this company?
Well, we started 15 years ago. Again, this is, there are many companies that do artistic programming, as you know, but we like to use the phrase inspirational arts programming. And for me, that is the combination of artistic programming, but also a real emphasis upon message. And so all of our projects are message driven. It's about educating and commemorating. It's about inspiring and uplifting. And so really the company has become a vehicle for my own creative curiosity, my own creative expressions, and then a wonderful vehicle for us to be able to collaborate with like-minded partners. We are based in Washington, D.C. We're based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We are curious about this Atlanta market and excited about the potential opportunities here. And we work in other parts of the country as well. Just this year, we have major programming going on in 6 cities, including Cleveland and D.C. and Philadelphia and Atlanta and New York. And so, you know, for me, it's all about leveraging the power of music and the arts for community engagement and for social good. And particularly as we look at what's going on in our world and in our country and in our various states, there's really a need for more dialogue. And I believe that music is a powerful tool for bringing people together, that the arts can be used to bring people together, to hopefully foster better understanding and to build bridges.
So let's talk about the partnerships that are involved with the West Side, South Side exhibition here in Atlanta.
Indeed. Well, we'll start with Fulton County Arts and Culture.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Lionel, for being open to this project, you know. And this is not our first time working together, so I'm grateful for the many years that we've known each other. And I celebrate the work you're doing here, man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So the Mann Center for the Performing Arts is one of the partners that we've had at New Works for 6 years now. And over the course of 5 years, we have put together these curatorial festival projects that really seek to engage community in a meaningful way. The projects are localized in Philadelphia region, but they have locally extended to the tri-state area, including Jersey and Delaware and Pennsylvania. And then starting last year, we started to push the projects even beyond just, you know, those regions. Actually, 2 years ago, we did an international project that was the world orchestral premiere of Firebird Reimagined, which is Stravinsky's Firebird, reset by a great puppet designer in South Africa by the name of Janny Jung. We were able to build a whole festival project around that. And then starting last year, we were able to move the work into the DC region, and this year even wider with Atlanta. I was sharing with you about the Man Center. It's been really great for our companies to work together to put projects together that deal with social justice, deal with matters that are really relevant in our communities, particularly for underserved parts of our communities.
And diversity, right?
And diversity is a key part of that. And using the arts to celebrate diversity. Last year, our project also was built all around STEAM initiatives, right? Using the arts as a part of STEM. So this exhibition that is, you see these images here, features the works of 29 students at the 5 schools. There's some 33 works on exhibition, but it is a subset of a much larger collection of works that 55 students total have produced, almost 300 pieces that they have created, these students of photography. And that exhibition will actually be available online starting midsummer. The newworksproductions.com, NEWORKS productions.com.
Well, that's great. Thank you for being with us, Nolan. It's been a pleasure talking to you as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll talk to the young photographers who participated in bringing West Side, South Side, a photo exhibition to life. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back. We're here with Phaedra Williamson and Christopher Barris, students from the Art Institute of Atlanta, and 2 of the artists featured in the national exhibition, West Side, South Side. The theme of the exhibition is to bring attention to the face of immigration and socioeconomic disparities in America. Thank you for being with us. Tell us about yourself.
I was born in New Delhi, India, and I grew up in Atlanta. I joined the military and traveled a lot, and settled back down in Atlanta a few years ago.
And I'm Christopher Burris. I'm retired military as well, Navy, go Navy, and did my journey, and I found my way to Atlanta. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri.
So how did you get involved with the Arts Institute of Atlanta?
I got involved because I wanted to express my way creatively through photography, and I thought it was a great outsource, and it was great for me.
And you?
I was already doing weddings and other big events, and I decided that I wanted to go to school to further my career and maybe even teach at some point photography sometime down the road.
So talk about your participation in the West Side, South Side exhibition.
I thought it was a real big eye-opener to the disparities and the different environments that we live in right here in Atlanta.
And you, Chris?
And for me, I think it tells a story, and still tells a story of how it is now today. It's still West Side, South Side story, and it's right here in Atlanta, and it's a big melting pot, just like the United States is.
So what did you enjoy most about the exhibition?
Seeing through other artists' eyes what they took out of the West Side, South Side. Their vision came to life through their pictures.
So let's stop there. Let's talk about your process. How did you manage the process of getting from point A to point B with regards to developing your work to be a part of the exhibition?
For us, it was a class project that turned into our vision of what we took of it. For my particular piece, I took a house, an older house and a newer house, and put them together, and it really shows both sides of the disparities in Atlanta.
And you, Chris?
For me, I chose to do a Liberian woman who was a Liberian refugee. She was in refugee camps in Liberia, and she came to the United States for a better life for her and her children. So when she got over here, one of her childs passed away from a drunk driver in the US. Mm-hmm. And it just shows how, the change from over there to the US, and then the image itself shows that she's at peace and she's enjoying herself over in the US.
So it sounds like a very interesting process that you undertook. How involved was the community in that process? I mean, you had to engage the folks out in the community. So how did that work for you?
I went and drove up and down the streets of Atlanta. I knocked on the doors of the two houses that I did photograph and asked them if I could photograph them. So it kind of got to know the stories and through the people that I asked and was able to photograph. So
Had to be enlightening, huh?
definitely was.
And Chris, how was it for you?
For me, mine was actually an aunt. So my aunt was the Liberian refugee who came over to the States. So it was very simple and very easy for me because the Art Institute has a very diversity crowd, and my family members fits right in the West Side, South Side story.
Okay. So any closing thoughts from either of you?
I think overall the exhibit, and I loved how it was displayed and the pieces that were chosen, and it was an eye-opener project.
And for me, I like to see how the different states, like we had Philadelphia, we had DC, we had Atlanta, and we had all the different people, their views on what West Side, South Side story meant to them.
Sounds very interesting. So I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Back with more in a moment. Welcome back. We're here with Taylor Barefoot, photographic imaging instructor at the Art Institute of Atlanta, a private college of creative studies that prepares students for careers in design, media, and the culinary arts. Mr. Barefoot is one of the instructors responsible for guiding students' participation in the national exhibition, West Side, South Side, a collaborative partnership with New Works Production. Taylor, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So you're the professor of digital photography here at the Art Institute of Atlanta.
I am.
Tell us about the Arts Institute of Atlanta.
So the Art Institute of Atlanta, it is basically to train young people in the professional arts as far as media, the culinary arts, all those things that you kind of mentioned before. So we're training them to be professionals in the field. It's a commercial-based school, so it's not necessarily getting students to get works in galleries and things like that. It's for them to go out, train themselves, work with professionals, and actually make a career out of the arts, something that they're truly passionate about.
So Taylor, tell us about your background.
So my background, I've actually been teaching for 11 years here, so I find myself more of an educator than anything now. But my background in photography is I've done much freelance photography as far as Photoshop work, retouching. I've worked for companies that decorate hotels, creating artwork for them. So that's primarily what my focus was, is a lot of freelance Photoshop work.
So how do you incorporate your professional experiences into the classroom for the students?
So my professional experience always dealing with people face to face, you know. One of the biggest aspects of business is having a personality and being able to communicate. But as far as my work in general, being that we're in a digital world of photography, knowing Photoshop, knowing how to post-process, that is a huge aspect of shooting and becoming a photographer.
So what techniques do you use?
So Photoshop, it's all about making things as realistic as possible. I mean, it's shooting so lighting matches, shooting so everything in the scene makes sense as far as realism is concerned and things like that.
So let's talk about your hallmark moments. What are your three favorite experiences here in teaching students photography?
I think one of the biggest hallmarks is when I first started teaching the intro classes, like the introduction to photography, because I loved working with people that are just getting in fresh, excited about shooting and things like that. And they can go out and they can shoot just about anything they want. And they have so much energy, and I love that. And I love to kind of really have them obsess over that sort of thing and really just kind of guide them in the right direction. So that's one of the biggest things that I've loved since working here.
So recently your students participated in an exhibition with a group called New Works Production, on an exhibition called West Side, South Side. How did that come about?
That came about, Nolan Williams of New Works Productions reached out to our school, and when he mentioned photography, of course they just kind of put it down to me and said, hey, look into this opportunity. And as a school, we get a lot of people approaching us for various things. And so I saw it and I said, well, I'm gonna reach out, and I did, and I had a great conversation with Nolan Williams, and I just kind of fell in love with the project. And also, since it was about immigration and things like that, I was actually teaching a photo essay class coming up the next quarter, and I thought it would have been a perfect fit. So I really pursued this, and I love the fact that I did, because everything just turned out so beautifully, and it was such a great project to work on.
So it ended in a wonderful exhibition over at the Woodruff Art Center?
Absolutely. It was
tell us about that.
Exhibition. So the whole process originally just started out, we were photographing, we knew it would be an online exhibit. He had discussed making it a physical exhibit as well, and we were all very excited, and then it just slowly built up and started gaining momentum, and that's where it ended up at this just beautiful gallery space with Fulton County involved as well, and just the Atlanta Symphony.
Fulton County Arts and Culture.
Fulton County Arts and
Okay.
Culture.
All right.
That's a big thing. Fulton County Arts and Culture, and then Atlanta Symphony was there, and it was just a wonderful experience, something that they don't get a whole lot of experience with. This is just a very unique experience, so I'm very glad that they got involved.
So what do you think the takeaway was with the exhibition?
The takeaway is they can see just where their work can go, just how it can be exhibited, and how it can also just reach out and touch people, because it's an important issue. So a lot of people got to see it. A lot of people got to really kind of either identify with it or learn from it. So their work, they feel responsible for that. They feel responsible for guiding people into a wonderful direction with what we were trying to cover.
And it was a wonderful opportunity to engage the community.
Absolutely.
Right.
It was.
In photography, and really learn more about the Art Institute of Atlanta.
Exactly. So, and it brought us lots of people. A lot of people understood what we did, and they were very excited to kind of see us getting involved with that community.
Tell us about how you selected the students to participate in the exhibition, West Side, South Side.
So it originally started out with, I was teaching photographic essay. So that whole class is about telling stories and things like that through images. So I knew that class would be involved, but just as an experiment, I just reached out to my entire department, beginning students to my graduating students. And the wonderful thing is some of the beginning students really seemed attached to the project. They really liked it. We have a very multinational department, so they were very interested in the subject. So I got as many people involved as I could. So some of them would actually come to my photo essay class and sit in on it and just kind of hear and look at the critiques and things. So that's how it started out, but it just became kind of a department-wide opportunity for everyone. And whoever got involved got images shown online, and they really enjoyed the project.
All very fascinating. We're going to have to take a break, and when we return, we'll continue our discussion about West Side, South Side. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back, and we're glad to have with us Newton Myvet, who is president of the Art Institute of Atlanta. And welcome, thank you for being here.
I'm glad that you guys are here on this campus, enjoying the creative platform. And this partnership is a tremendous one because it celebrates our students, faculty, and staff. So glad to be here with you.
So tell us about the Arts Institute of Atlanta.
Right, so the Art Institute of Atlanta has been around since 1949, okay? And we're a creative platform, and we offer programs in design, culinary, and media. And we're quite proud of the fact that as a nonprofit university, we've been able to graduate thousands of students and contribute significantly to what's happening here in Atlanta. So we look forward to the next number of years to come where we continue to serve the regular population, but we're also proud of the fact that this is the home for a lot of our veterans. As a matter of fact, out of the 1,200 students that we have here, we have over 300 veterans. And I gotta tell you, they're one of our biggest inspirations.
So why do you think that's so?
Well, I think it's more so our veterans are transitioning, and they're looking for a new opportunity, a new place. And I think the Art Institute of Atlanta has been able to provide a real comfort zone for them, but also that bridge to getting them to continue to live a very successful life in the creative field.
Well, that's a lot. Thank you very much for being with us. Any final thoughts?
Well, we always say that our students here are always exceptional. And so our focus is always getting out into the community and doing exceptional partnerships, right? So that we can showcase our students and make sure that they're engaging. And so we're quite proud of what we're trying to do here with your organization.
Well, you're doing an absolute fabulous job.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
And joining us. That's our show for today. I would like to thank Nolan Williams Jr. of New Works Productions, the Mann Center for the Arts, the Woodruff Art Center, Clark Atlanta University, and the Art Institute of Atlanta. Thank you for joining us. For more information about New Works Productions and West Side, South Side, a photo exhibition and other programs featured in this show, please visit our website for links to arts resources. And remember, you can connect with us online on Facebook, Twitter, or watch us anytime on Vimeo and YouTube. And remember, live the arts in Fulton County.